Hello, and welcome to The Fool and the Philosopher.
The Philosopher and the Fool.
I've been reading Righteous Mind by Jonathan Haidt. So, First of all, book review here. This book feels fantastic. I don't know what the paper quality... feel this paper.
Feels like paper.
I feel the cover,
It's a paper cover.
No, but this is high quality paper. This is... if this was silk, this would be high thread count cashmere. This is not cheap paper that you would... in the middle of the woods, you got your yellow... What are those called? It's Nickelback...
Those phone book?
No, those books with cowboys in them. Penny Dreadfuls, your Nickelbacks, your those cheap books they made in the 1860s.
Reader's Digest?
No.
Almanacs?
No, they were called Penny Dreadfuls, and they were cheap garbage books on cheap paper that you could buy for 5 pence.
Okay.
And they would be a little adventure story of a cowboy or something.
All right.
Yeah. So you got one of those. You got The Righteous Mind. You got the Bible. You got to wipe your butt. You're gonna choose The Righteous Mind because
no, you're not. That's incredibly uncomfortable paper. It's stiff and hard.
No, it's soft though. It's soft.
Yeah, but it's paper. You don't want a high thread count in your paper.
No, but you don't want a high grit. You don't want
You want high grit in toilet paper.
No, that you'll rip all the skin off your stuff. You want smooth. This is
Okay, let us divest ourselves from the butt wiping.
Right, but this book just feels nice.
Okay.
It feels very nice. So it starts. First of all, I disagree entirely with him. I think the fact that people base their lives around this book is.
Who's Jonathan Haidt?
Jonathan Haidt is a very famous sociologist.
All right.
Or psychologist, I guess you could say, who came up with the moral foundations theory, which is essentially that people have different domains of morality that they focus on. So, for instance, some people care most about reducing harm. Some people care most about maximizing freedom. Some people care most about sanctity. Some people care most about disgust. Those sort of things.
Yeah.
So he came up with 6 different domains to measure people along to see what their moral foundations are based along. So here's an example of one of the questions he asks right at the start of the book. A family's dog was killed by a car in front of their house. They had heard that dog meat was delicious, so they cut up the dog's body and cooked it and ate it for dinner. Nobody saw them do this. Is this morally wrong?
Yes.
So what he says is, if you are like most of the well-educated people in my studies, you felt an initial flash of disgust, but you hesitated before saying the family had done anything morally wrong. After all, the dog was already dead, so they didn't hurt it, right? And it was their dog, so they had the right to do what they want with the carcass. And if push you to make a judgment, odds are you'd give me a nuanced answer, something like, well, I think it's disgusting, I think they should have buried the dog, but I wouldn't say it was morally wrong.
I'd say it is morally wrong.
So I think it is also morally wrong, and it's not even a disgusting.
Yeah.
See, if you're willing to eat the dog, right? That suggests that you didn't care for the dog as a sentient being in the way that humanity does, right? Which means that you were owners of a dog you cared nothing about.
Yeah.
Which means that your ownership of that dog wasn't proper or just. You shouldn't have had that dog. So I think the lack of morality, it transcends time in a way. It's not the eating of the dog exactly. You find a random dead dog on the street and you eat it. That's a different story maybe. But
yeah.
But this is your dog.
You go to an Asian restaurant.
Yeah. But this is your dog, and you didn't care for it enough to give it proper, decent burial, right?
Well, for me, it even goes to part of that.
Which meant you had this dog for years that you didn't love.
To me, that's almost, I was thinking about this, that's almost cannibalism. Not proper cannibalism, but societal cannibalism, sort of. Of the dog was a social member in your family.
It's a member of your group, yeah.
Yeah.
Which means that you are willing to turn on your group when...
And eat them.
Yeah. But what is the moral... What he does talk about is he says, the interesting thing about morality is you often have to justify it, which is interesting. People always come up with moral justifications, right?
There's something interesting I want to say on that, actually, even terminologically. Yeah, it's there's nothing wrong with justification.
No, but he thinks it's interesting that a lot of discussion, there isn't exactly moral fact, there's moral argument, right? That's sort of... So he gives another one here. He says, more challenging story. A man goes to the supermarket once a week and buys a chicken. But before cooking the chicken, he has sexual intercourse with it. Then he cooks and eats it.
So he's from Germany?
What? I don't want to know, actually, I don't think.
It's the Germany before...
Weimar Republic.
Yeah, Weimar.
Right.
That's a very Weimar thing.
So he says this one's more difficult. I don't think it is more difficult. I think, or more challenging. I guess that doesn't mean that isn't wrong necessarily.
Well,
wrong.
We've decided that bestiality is illegal.
Yeah.
So it's illegal.
But I also think this is wrong, right?
Yeah.
Because what he said here is, does that make it wrong? So it seems disgusting and degrading, right? So does that make it wrong? If you're an educated and politically liberal Westerner, you've probably given another nuanced answer, one that acknowledges the man's right to do what he wants as long as he doesn't hurt anyone. But if you're not a liberal or libertarian Westerner, you probably think it's wrong, morally wrong, for someone to have sex with a chicken carcass and then eat it. For you, as most people on the planet, morality is broad. It doesn't just extend to...
with a carcass. I thought he's buying a live chicken.
No.
Still wrong.
It doesn't just extend to hurting someone. It actually extends to disgust and sanctity and that sort of thing. But I would say that there's more to it than that even because, and again, this is, morality transcends time. The man is hurting himself.
Yeah.
Right? He doesn't respect himself enough, right? So there is a moral degradation of the self, which is essentially, even if you want to just only focus on care harm, you're hurting yourself.
Yeah.
So I think that, and also one thing he does in this book, which is really annoying, he even says he's doing it at the start, so you know what he's doing, but he doesn't stop doing it. He uses the term liberal to mean progressive.
Does he?
Yeah.
Huh.
Which is, and then he uses libertarian to mean liberal. So it's a little bit annoying, but
Yeah.
and because that is kind of what libertarian was made in North America to essentially be a liberal here because we made our liberals progressives for whatever reason. So
Yeah.
except in Canada, our Liberal Party is not necessarily more progressive than the other parties, and it's not necessarily more liberty focused either.
Yeah.
It's more just a name than anything. Same with the conservatives. But there's a quote here which is from a Chinese Zen master.
If someone tells you what they are, this is going to be useless sophistry, what I'm about to say. If someone tells you what they are, you either believe them or they're the exact opposite of what they say.
If someone tells you what they are, don't believe them. Famous saying. So there's a saying here, 8th century Chinese Zen master Sen-An, who said, "The perfect way is only difficult for those who pick and choose. Do not like, do not dislike. All then will be clear. Make a hairbreadth difference, and heaven and earth are set apart. If you want the truth to stand clear before you, never be for or against. The struggle between for and against is the mind's worst disease."
I feel like something was lost in translation.
So I was trying to figure that out, right? Because it's like he's saying don't like things and don't dislike things. I was trying to figure it out because this is how you avoid, this is how you keep heaven and earth together and how you stop worrying about your mind's worst disease, right? And I think I've come up with the modern translation, which transmits the idea to other people.
Yeah.
Far better than this Zen master ever did, right?
Well, it might have transmitted well in 8th century Chinese.
Maybe, but I think that the way that I know this, I think that I can transmit this, not through my own, but through a meme, is actually simpler. Like it's 2 words and 2 pictures.
Yeah.
All right. Have you seen the fan versus enjoyer meme? So it's like the Minecraft fan versus the Minecraft enjoyer.
The main thing I think about would be Harry Potter. It might be the most accurate.
Yeah. So the Harry Potter fan versus the Harry Potter enjoyer.
Yeah.
So the Harry Potter fan is depicted as like this little screaming kid that's like everything, he has to defend it to every inch of his life. But the enjoyer, someone who enjoys Harry Potter, he looks like the Chad with the great big weird combed up hair and like the pretty face sort of thing. But he's like, like that Chad. So it's that one. So because the enjoyer doesn't wrap their identity around.
Yeah. You don't walk into their room and get bombarded by Harry Potter.
Yeah, and or if they do, it's because they enjoyed the thing, right? They have it and they enjoy it, but it's not them. Their identity isn't based around it, so they don't have to defend it from assault, and they don't have to force it upon others. They just enjoy a thing. So people that are engaged in the console wars, they're people that are for and against something, right? It's like, oh, Nintendo's better, no, PlayStation's better, no, Xbox is better. But the enjoyer is like, yeah, I got a Switch and then I play on my Xbox and I've got this great VR headset for my PlayStation. Or I don't have them at all and that's fine because I don't care either way, right? Yeah. And you're not superior for it. I think that is what the Zen Master was trying to communicate. Right. So I think that modern memes are better than Zen, basically. I think that the ancient philosophers have been defeated by modern memes, or have been overcome by memes.
Maybe.
Speaking of the election, I sure called it, huh?
You did.
Except I said majority conservative, and it's minority liberal. But besides that, the conservatives actually did gain.
Yeah.
And now what I said was that the worst case scenario was minority conservative, so we avoided that. I think best case scenario is probably majority liberal, which we're also probably not going to get.
No, worst case scenario was majority bloc.
I don't know, that could be interesting.
It's not possible.
That could be interesting.
And the bloc won Alberta.
And now everyone has to go. Now everyone has to laugh in French now. Oh, cheese in every street corner. But I'm kind of... Maybe I'm off here, right? Like, I didn't vote, right? So I don't... You know, if you don't vote, you don't get a say, maybe, right? But I didn't necessarily think there was a party that was better than the others, except in terms of if there was a minority conservative, then they could pretend there was change, but there wasn't change. Yeah. If there's majority conservative, then they have to stick to their guns and say, hey, we're actually going to change, or we're not, because we're in control. If there's majority liberal, then that's an amazing scenario, because then either they're forced to change because everyone's like, okay, you can't pretend that the liberals are blocking you, or they do so bad that the pressure pot cooks even for another 5 years, and then everything just goes in 2030, I guess.
Yeah.
And suddenly there's unicorns on the streets and rainbows and everything. Minority liberal, it might just slowly decline.
Well, they have to form coalition with a party and then sort of serve each other.
Except they can't. There's no other parties. They got destroyed this election.
Well,
there's the bloc. That's it, basically.
No, if they can form a coalition with the NDP.
The NDP lost party status.
Oh, and you can't form a coalition with that?
I don't know, but they can give them like...
There's 7 seats.
They can give them like a little bit, but I don't think it's enough to get to majority. So
I want to talk about interesting in our local place, the numbers.
Can I talk about my disappointment first? Okay. So are we fully counted here yet even?
Well, it's weird because I saw the counted numbers, but I saw them before 10:30.
Yeah, I don't think it was counted by then. But it's probably going to continue along that way. But a few things could flip here and there. I don't think it'll change the entire election, but
there's 2 seats in Canada that can flip because it's within 100 of each other.
Oh. But I think even like there's some, if they've only counted 50% of them, but one is like gets all the votes, it can still flip. It's just the odds are ridiculously low, but it's still possible. But because they called the election like before they counted like half the votes.
I know.
Which was like, are you sure you want to stick to that?
Yeah.
But
I was kind of hoping I'd wake up and it would be different. I didn't care who was different, just to...
That kind of happened 2 elections ago. The NDP had a chance, it looked like they had a chance at winning until like 9 or 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And then they just lost like everything when the rest of the vote came in. But it looked, because I guess they just all got counted first.
I know in America one time...
they had a big problem with Bush and Al Gore.
Yeah, well, Al Gore won.
Yeah, except they called it with Bush. And then Al Gore resigned, basically, to keep everything smooth and going along.
Yeah.
As I understand it. And then Florida was like, okay, we're sorry. We're going to fix everything. And now they get their votes in, like, instantly. Because they really streamlined everything.
As opposed to the rest of America.
Yeah. Well, like, Nevada's still counting, probably. They're just like, 1, 2...
Well, you know that thing where, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, damn. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, shoot, I haven't restacked. Okay.
They've just got like one guy in Nevada who's been just stuck in the room for like a year.
Yeah. And he's only allowed, they have rules. He's only allowed verbal counting, no recording the numbers.
So my problem with the Liberals winning at all, right? Yeah. Because I said like Liberal majority's best case scenario. and I do hope that Carney is a great leader and that the Liberals do amazing, obviously, because I live here. So that would be nice. Mm-hmm. But what I'm very disappointed about is that it seems like at least, 40 to 50% of Canadians that voted, because there wasn't really a third party this time, are unaware that we're a parliamentary system. So unless the party kicks out all the old members, you actually still have the same party even if the leader changes.
Yeah.
Because the leader of the party only gets 1 vote.
Yeah.
And
you can argue that the Liberals have a very powerful whip.
Yeah, but they can ignore it at any time they want.
Yeah.
And because it's a parliament, they're representative.
Yeah.
And at any point they could say, actually, no, we're not going to go with you. And then everything changes.
Well, that's why, even though I only get, probably the staffers only see it, I send emails
Yeah.
to our representative.
Yeah.
Just because that's...
They represent us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's an individual guy, and I
pull out your typewriter and put on your clerk flat cap with a light and go, "Dear sir."
I might actually change to sending physical media, because that's more annoying to deal with than email.
You're going to be that old lady that's...
Yes. Well, Louis Brindley's dad does that too. He sends letters.
"Dear sir, I'm engaging in the democratic process."
Yes.
But nobody liked the Liberals.
Yeah.
And then nothing changed, and everyone voted for them.
Yeah.
No, not everyone, obviously. It's like 50%. Well,
it's 46, actually.
Yeah, something. So it's not everyone.
That's actually something that annoys me. Is like, are Canadians idiots or something? Your whole country vote for this guy? It's like, no. Less than 50% voted for him.
It's always less. Actually, this time was unusually high.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even then, like, you look at each individual riding.
Well, it's even 60%. Here's actually the number breakdown. Is we have like a 68% vote, and then of that 68% of the population that voted that can vote, it was 46 to 45%.
And I think that's higher than normal, isn't it? It's normally like 40% or something?
Yes. No, the NDP and the Bloc and all the little parties got destroyed.
But I think there was higher voter turnout, I think.
Yes. No, that's what I'm saying. The voter turnout was higher than normal, being at the 64 or whatever.
But basically, the NDP and the Bloc all just went to the Liberals.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird because nobody liked the Liberals.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing changed. And so everyone voted for them.
Yeah.
It's like it's like Trudeau was a literal scapegoat that absolved them of their sins.
Yeah. So it's interesting. If you
I think that's kind of unfair to the guy, actually.
If you look at the Yukon...
Yeah. Not that I ever liked him, but...
the numbers never change.
Yeah.
This year they did, which is the... Conservatives got their usual about 5,800 votes.
Yeah.
And the Liberals got 790.
7,000?
Sorry, 7,090.
Yeah.
And then you look at the NDP and you look at the Green, and their numbers are so much smaller than usual.
Yeah. Yeah, the NDP sometimes win here.
Yeah, and so their numbers just cratered.
The head of the NDP party used to be from here.
Yeah. Yeah, so their numbers cratered.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one factor, but I also think in the last 4 years since we had an election in the Yukon, we have a lot of new Yukoners who are digital nomads.
Mm.
So they're from Ontario. They can't afford a house in Ontario. And so they move here because they can't afford houses here. Because they are somehow cheaper here.
Yeah.
And then they still work in Ontario with their laptop. And so you get like 1,000 of those people coming here.
Yeah, and then
And those are people who are going to be active in voting.
Yeah, it could be. Could be that they tipped it over.
Well, yeah, our numbers, our two big parties got like 12,000 votes in between them.
Yeah.
That's not a lot.
No, I think that's more than it has been, though. Yeah, for sure. Like, because wasn't it like 4,000 each, like last election or something? I can't remember.
The last election was about 5,000 each, but the Conservatives got 4,000 and the Independent got 1,000.
No, it was 50-50. Like the Conservatives got destroyed last election because the Independent was so much more... Well, he was equally popular, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they definitely got, like, split there.
Yeah.
And maybe the Greens don't get reported on the... on Wikipedia, anyways.
They got reported on a different site.
Yeah.
So
they... But I think they probably do okay.
They got, like, 800 this year.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
oh, this year they got 800?
Yeah, the NDP got like 2,300.
Because I didn't think the Greens or the NDP had a very good candidate this time around.
No.
But then again, nobody acts like it's a parliamentary system, right? It's always just, well, I want this party, and so I'm going to vote for this person. And
yeah, well, that's what I base my voting on. Is the guy I originally wanted to vote for dropped out.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the other members and it's like, of these 4 people, which one of them do I like the most? Because that's who you vote for. I'm not voting for Carney or Pierre Poilievre.
Yeah.
I'm voting for one of the 4 people we had the option here.
Speaking of Poilievre,
he lost his seat.
Yeah, well, is that final or is it still like trickling in and maybe a last moment miracle could...
It's by like 3,000 he lost it.
That's kind of...
There's some point out a statistic which is his riding. The last 20 years he's been in it was 50% Anglo-Saxon.
Yeah.
Basically like 50% Canadian. It's now 30%. And also the zoning, however that works, isn't it called gerrymandering?
I think if you do it in a way that...
Okay. What's the proper thing that's not the gerrymandering?
I'm not sure. Maybe it is just gerrymandering. But they basically changed the
shape. They added a whole another town.
Right.
And that town, if you look at its numbers, extremely liberal.
Right. I wonder if I cursed him. Because, like, remember when you asked me who was going to win the American election? And I said, I think that Kamala's going to win because I think Trump's going to win, and I'm always wrong.
Yeah.
But this time I didn't do that. I just said I think the Conservatives are going to get a majority, and instead their leader lost his seat. Although they did get more seats than normal.
Yeah, they got more seats. They got quite a few seats.
It's just the NDP died.
Yes. The NDP died hard. Yeah. They were bigger than the Bloc, weren't they?
Yeah, they were a contender at one point.
Yeah. But I mean, even just in the last sitting, they were bigger than the Bloc.
I don't think the Bloc even won Quebec this time around.
No, the quote Bloc.
Yeah.
The Bloc Quebecois.
Yeah.
Lost 3 seats.
Wow. Served them right for being... I mean, terrible. It's kind of a weird party in the first place. Mm-hmm. Like, they do that in the UK as well. They have the Scottish National Party and the Irish Party.
And the Welsh National Party.
Do the Welsh win?
Yep.
So what's the point of having an election? It's like, all right, so England is going to vote, and then the rest of you are just going to be nationalists.
Well, that's what the Albertans feel like right now.
They need an Alberta party.
I think the Alberta party would be hilarious because it would split the Conservatives into a much smaller party, and then basically there'd never be a Conservative majority again in Canada.
We need an English party in the UK, like the
England party.
Yeah, England party. Every province and territory in Canada should have their own party.
I was thinking that they should.
Yeah. Actually,
and then it represents your province's wants and needs.
Yeah, and then what's the point of having a country at that point? Like, why does the UK? They should just give up. They should just become the K.
The kingdom.
The kingdom, not to be confused with the other kingdom in the United Arab Emirates.
It looks like potentially now, like, this is all speculation. People call it cope, whatever. The thing people say it's cope. Coping is coping with something. Yeah. It's what you do. It's a good thing to cope.
Okay, so what's your
okay? So mine make a cope.
Well, but when people talk about cope, they actually mean denial, right?
Yeah.
They're not talking about cope. They're saying you're using denial as a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Canada's in trouble potentially.
From what?
Well, if you look at Alberta basically voted pure Conservative.
Yeah.
Besides like 2 write-ins. And then you look at Western Canada and vote for Liberals.
No, BC went Conservative.
Sorry, if you look at Eastern Canada, it voted basically for the Liberals.
So we should cut Canada in half.
Well, so population-wise, this is something I didn't know, but the Maritimes, their amount of seats in population versus Alberta's amount of seats in population, the Maritimes get like 55% more power. I mean, the Yukon here gets like something like 1 million times. Maritimes?
Yeah.
I like Maritime better.
It's like marine, like water, not like happy.
I'm going to go with Maritime.
Okay.
Because I like that better.
Yeah. It's like the water people,
okay,
not the happy people.
I like the happy people better, even though they're miserable.
Well, I don't know. They actually seem to be fairly like happy people. Right. So anyway, sorry, you're saying that the Maritimes are going to succeed?
No, the Maritimes have more representation than Alberta for their population.
Right. And
Alberta basically gets screwed by the Liberal Party whenever it's in power.
Right.
And there's the separatist movement in Alberta is growing. And
see, the problem with Alberta being separated, if Quebec was separated, Canada would still look like a country, right?
Yeah.
If Alberta separates, Canada would look ridiculous.
Yes, well, people say that if Alberta separates, it would take BC and Yukon with it.
That would look a bit better.
I don't know if it'd take the Yukon with it.
Because... Yeah, no, the Yukon's...
well,
it's
so
like 50-50.
Federally, territorially, which is, I guess, the provincial government.
Yeah.
Our parliament's hung. I didn't know this, but apparently it's hung.
Which means?
We are 30% conservative. Sorry, we have, I think it's like 11 conservative seats, 11 liberal seats. And so then the third party, which I think is the NDP, basically got to choose who ran.
Right.
So hung is basically until something was done, we actually couldn't form a government.
Right.
And our next election is coming up, so we'll see if territorially we'll switch or not. But yeah, we're kind of 50-50, so I don't think we...
Isn't the NDP in charge right now?
No, it's the Liberals.
Is it?
Yeah.
Like territorially?
Yep.
Okay. Well, we had a really interesting case where the vote district by district wasn't completely tied, so the tiebreaker was Old Crow. But Old Crow had exactly the same amount of votes for each candidate. Yeah. And so they had to do a recount in Old Crow, and which has like 200 people.
Yeah.
It actually came down to a single person's vote, the entire territory, which is...
But if Alberta seceded, yeah, we would look very silly.
Because we'd have this... It's like a big square.
It'd be a giant panhandle.
It's like a giant rectangle.
Well, if it seceded and joined America, then America would get like the silliest panhandle in history.
That would look dumb. Yeah.
And it would be America's chimney.
And if they went with BC, that'd be interesting, actually. And I think BC and the Yukon are basically connected. Like, there's so many shared things between them.
Yeah.
They're probably a package deal, really.
Yeah. But if BC didn't leave, man, that would be nasty for BC with Alberta cutting off the rest of Canada.
Maybe this is just, what's that called? It's like inertia bias. Yeah. But I find it hard to believe that Canada would... Split. Like, Quebec didn't get out, and if Quebec can't get out, no one can. That's... Like, they got close, but they didn't make it. So when you mean Canada's in danger, you mean literally the concept of Canada.
Yeah, concept of Canada's in danger.
And also, I think we'd need to get permission from Charles, and...
No, they actually, part of our permission to split, we don't need permission.
But would we both be Commonwealth then still?
Well, that's one of the other things, is the Yukon Sorry, if you're talking about the Yukon, then yes, we would. Like, it's really... The territories are really weird. That's the other problem. Is the
territories. Yeah,
the territories belong to Canada.
Yeah, right. So if they... So the Yukon couldn't follow Alberta unless Alberta really fought for it, maybe.
Yeah, the Yukon really fought for it.
Or Alberta said, we're real Canada.
Yeah.
You're fake Canada.
Yes. Like the two popes.
But then that would be...
And during the confusion, Alberta just eats us. Alaska eats us.
Have you seen that Charles is really channeling his... what would it be? His, like, great aunt? Like, Victoria? Like, he was in talks with Trump to make the United States part of the Commonwealth.
Oh, yes.
And Trump seemed, like, interested in it.
Yeah.
Like, he's trying to bring the gang back together.
But...
He's...
What would... So, I think there's the inertia thing you're talking about is a little bit of the nothing never happens meme.
Yeah, well, I disagree with that.
Yeah.
But I think I would need to see, and maybe I'm not looking in the right places, but I would need to see signs that people were actually interested in seceding in the first place.
Well, I think that things happen faster than people think they do. Like, nothing happens until it happens.
Right, but is there, like, the slightest hint that Albertans are like, oh yeah, we're out of here? Like, if you took... Like, I'm sure there's always going to be...
Fringe online.
Yeah, like the more extreme Albertans, right? But, like, there's a lot of people that have been talking about civil war in the UK and the United States for quite a long time, right? And I don't think...
Well, there's kind of a civil war in the UK right now.
Is there?
Yeah, the Pakistanis and the Indians are fighting in the streets.
Oh, right. So, well, they're not the same country, so... I mean...
But they're fighting in the streets of the UK.
Yeah. I mean, they used to be the same country.
Yeah.
But they... I don't know if they actually ever had a civil war. I think they just very violently separated.
Yeah.
Just agreed to separate. Kind of like what would happen with Quebec. We would force them to march all the way to Quebec. We'd kick all the French people back to... Oh, it's a beautiful sight.
Well...
We should have more bloc representatives around the country.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
I hope it's good.
But, so, besides that, like... We haven't seen anything. What do you think the implications of Alberta leaving Canada would be, besides looking really silly?
You would... Well, I think right now, whether Alberta leaves or not, Canada is not a rich country, but it's pretending to be a rich country.
Yeah.
And we keep pretending we're... Like, Argentina did this for a long time, where they would... Well, it was like 50% of their GDP was in subsidies to themselves. So they were just paying themselves 50% of their own GDP to keep everything because they were used to being they were as rich as Norway, right? Yeah. So they were very used to living this lifestyle. So they would, instead of stopping and addressing the problems and saying we can't afford to do this, they just would print more money so that they could keep like the free healthcare and the the government programs and the road building and everything else going, and just keep all the government jobs was the huge one, like 50% subsidies, obviously. Right? So the government jobs was a huge one, and they didn't admit that they didn't have the money to do what they were priding themselves on doing, and the lifestyle they were used to. And I think Canada, we're not as far along, obviously, but I think we might be in a similar situation where, like, right now, the roads, right, you drive to town or you're driving far, the roads are falling to pieces, and instead of seeing workers fixing them, they're putting up, like, semi-permanent signs that say, hey, there's a pothole here. And, like, it's kind of depressing. They've just sort of given up on, like, I have seen some stuff getting patched now, but it definitely seems to be a lot slower than they're falling apart. And I've heard the mayor talk about that too, where it's a problem. And so, like, it sounds like they think it's a problem too. And we keep instead saying, oh yeah, like one of, was it Ryan Leaf was saying this? That he wanted to have, like one of the conservative guys, or was it Pierre? They were saying they wanted to have more, they wanted to like double or triple the Canadian Rangers. Yeah. And it's like, oh yeah, we are you the party that's going to be saving us money by tripling the military size? I mean, the Rangers are small, so it's not like you're spending that much more. And we have this whole CBC. That is the biggest blow to me about
is they have a guarantee now that's going to be put in.
Oh, is there going to be a guarantee?
They're getting a guarantee, and they're getting a second guarantee, which is their funding will increase every year for the next 20 years by like a massive amount of money. The other guaranteed is that basically, I mean, if someone else gets in charge, they can do whatever. But the other guaranteed is they're like trying to weave them into our constitution that you're not allowed to get rid of them.
Is it too late for me to go out and vote for the Conservatives?
Yes.
That was the one thing I wanted from, like, I didn't have any faith in the Conservatives, but if they did that, at least I'd get that. Because I have an irrational dislike of the CBC.
I have a rational dislike.
I think that I have caught them out for just listening to them. Like, I haven't gone and said, haha, but when I listen to them lie constantly on the news, and they are given a huge amount of money, and people say they really like their program, so they don't want them to stop being funded.
I despise Marvin's Room.
But well, it doesn't matter. Like, if a lot of people like it, right?
Yeah.
My thought is, like, if there's a bunch of people that are like, no, we need to keep the CBC because we love Marvin's Room, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I didn't say destroy the CBC. Just defund them.
Yeah.
Stop funding them. Let them stand on their own 2 feet.
Yes.
Let people give them the money. Like, why? There's a lot of people, especially in the South, and I think a lot of liberals more than conservatives, really like CBC, right?
Yeah.
Why am I paying for their radio subscription?
Yes.
Why don't they pay for their radio subscription?
It's like the TV license.
Yeah. It's like, I don't want to listen to CBC, so why am I paying for you to be able to listen to them? Why don't you pay for you to be able to listen to them? Like, are you going to sponsor... Like, I really love certain podcasts, like Philosopher and the Fool.
Yeah.
And so...
we are a Canadian company.
Yeah,
well, not a company, but we're still a Canadian group.
So are you going to sponsor us to, like... I mean, if that's the deal, right?
Yeah.
I could be convinced that we give half the taxpayer money to CBC and half to Philosopher and the Fool.
Yeah.
I will take that as a compromise. Instead of getting rid of CBC, we could do 50-50.
Yeah.
I will... I'm not happy, but that's my burden to bear. That if we got half CBC's funding, I could work with that. Right? And CBC, they do all these things as well. I don't know if it's because I don't recognize any of the faces, but when they do their little TV ads, right?
Yeah,
they act as if they're celebrities. Like they're like, oh, it's me that's doing this charity event, and I don't know who you are, and you're a radio host paid by the government. You're not a famous person. You're just. I mean, maybe you're famous, I guess, in a literal sense that everyone knows about you. But you're not a celebrity. I don't celebrate you. I don't care. If you got swapped out with someone else's voice tomorrow, I wouldn't care.
Yes.
Like, there's some people that are good. Like, there's that guy that does the marketing and advertising stuff. I think he's really interesting.
Yeah, Under the Influence.
Yeah, and I think the debate stuff they do, it's hit or miss, but it's had, like, about a quarter of them are pretty fun.
Yeah, and Eleanor Walked Tell with Writers and Company.
I haven't listened to that one so much. She's the one that always starts it with, now this was a great conversation I had with someone that died a year ago.
Yes.
But
that's her.
Yeah, she should really get some younger authors in her thing.
And the Quirks and Quarks guy.
But man, does she... You think we pre-record?
Yeah.
She's got all her stuff a year. Like, she's on top of everything.
Yeah.
Like, I don't... Like, all those things I don't care about.
Yeah.
And even the Under the Influence guy, I doubt I would pay him to...
Yes, exactly.
Like, if the choice was me having to pay to listen to that or never listen to it again, I'd just never listen to it again. I don't.
Same.
Like, I have YouTube Premium. There are people I'm willing to pay money for.
I should really get YouTube Premium.
There is a slight side effect I noticed of YouTube Premium. I actually have, like, more time. Like, it's actually noticeable I have, like, how much more time I have. The ads are that bad.
There are certain ads that I hate with such a passion.
Like, by watching being subscribed to the same people, right?
Yeah.
Watching the same YouTubers. I used to, in a day, in my free time, not be able to watch all the people. So I'd have to pick and choose, right? Now, I actually run out of things to watch in a day.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's a week goes by where it's like, oh, there's no one to watch because nobody has uploaded. That didn't happen before I got premium. Like, the ads are that big that it's like, it's multiple hours it adds up to. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And because it's not just like the ad at the start of the video, right? It's, okay, I want to see if this is good. So I click on it. Now I have to watch a 1-minute ad so I can click on the channel, because if I'm on my Switch, I can't click on the channel until the ad's done. Go to the channel, and then I say, okay, do I want to see this? Oh yeah, oh, this is good. Okay, I'll watch that later. So I put it down. Then I have to watch an ad again, and then I'm like, oh, I got it. Food's boiling. Okay, I'll pause that. I'll deal with the food. Oh, now I have to watch the ad again. And so the same clip, sometimes you have to watch like the ads like 5-6 times.
For me, I listen to YouTube videos while driving.
Yeah.
And so I get in my car. I'm connected to the house internet. I leave the range of the house there and have to switch over to data. When I switch over to data, YouTube plays an ad. The ad, even though I have it set to lowest quality because we have bad cell reception, the ad has to play at highest quality.
So it drains your data.
It drains my data and also takes longer to load. So the ad plays, and then I'm driving, and then I hit one of the internet dead spots in the Yukon because we have like just these black holes where there's no internet.
And so then when it skips back and then it reloads and does another ad.
It does another ad. And I can't skip the ads because I'm driving. So...
yeah, you have to listen to the whole thing.
And so I'll be
get like an hour long.
No, that will happen. I'll be driving and I'll hear an ad that I know is 10 minutes long, and I pull over and then get rid of it.
Yeah.
And there's other ads which I just despise. And I have sent YouTube complaints in their ad center. Well, I used to. I've tried now. They changed their ad center. You actually can't interact with it the same way you used to be able to. You can say, I don't like these. Don't recommend them. Used to be, you go to YouTube and you say, this company here, this one specifically that I just saw the ad from, don't send me more of those ads. You can't do that anymore.
So YouTube, like, they changed recently so that you can't watch videos higher than 1080p without premium, right? And a lot of people complained about that. They're like, I want to watch these 4K videos. I don't have to pay for premium to do that. And they keep ratcheting up the ads. They used to have no ads, and then they had like little pop-up ads, and then they'd have the occasional 5-second ad, and then people are freaking out when they did the 2 ads back to back, and now you'll have like 5 20-second ads back to back.
On the creator end of even making videos.
Well, I'll get to that because I want to do that as 2 separate things, right? Because all that stuff YouTube's doing, that's making the viewing experience worse without premium, right? Yeah. I'm totally fine with, actually, because YouTube needs to make money, and they are a one-of-a-kind, amazing service. Yeah. Like, their videos play... like, you try a video player on any other website, not half as good. YouTube is actually amazing. The comments... amazing. Like, they actually load. They're they're really janky, and the creator side, they have a different set of comments, which is weird. But all YouTube's foundation, the sorting algorithm, incredible. You can find these amazing videos that you've never seen. For the creators, the discoverability algorithms are amazing. Like, people can just start out, and then it just starts letting people see you. Like, there's websites like Royal Road, which I write on. Nobody knows about me, and everyone that reads my stuff, they're like, oh, this is great. Why isn't anyone reading this? Because there just isn't the same discoverability algorithm, right? Yeah. You basically, your choices for being discovered are when you update your file, it says most recently updated, so there's that discoverability queue. And then there is trending, which means that in the first month that you published, more people than average saw you, so it'll show that, hey, you were saw by more people than average. Yeah. And then there's rising stars, which means if you gain popularity quickly, you get put on the rising stars. But you have to gain popularity in the first place, right? Yeah. So discoverability is not on the same level as YouTube. So YouTube does a lot of stuff amazingly. And then for the last 15 years, they've just been making it worse and worse and worse on the creator end mostly. Yeah. But a few things they've done on the user end, getting rid of downvotes. Downvotes are important. They tell you if a video is a waste of your time or not, which can be really important if you're trying to fix like a computer or you're trying to fix a car or do first aid, or like those downvotes
Yeah.
are actually a problem. And then on the censorship on YouTube and the way they ban creators,
Yeah.
way out of control.
It's actually gone down recently, their censorship.
Oh yeah?
Because the new guy in charge realized they need to make money. And so a bunch of people have been banned for like 5 years. Or not banned, demonetized for 5 years. He remonetized them.
The adpocalypse response, maybe Susan had to do what she had to do, right?
Yeah.
But from my point of view, I think they did it totally wrong. I think what they should have done is when all the advertising companies were like, "Whoa, you're showing our ads on like ISIS beheading videos," what they should have said instead is, "Okay, we're going to have content. We're going to make sure that content meets the guidelines before we put the ads on it, and therefore we're just going to get rid of all the content that doesn't follow the advertising that advertisers want." Right? Instead, what they should have said is, the ads are not served to the video; they're served to the user.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what they watch; they will get your ads if they would buy your stuff.
Yeah.
Now, maybe the advertiser's like, so you're saying that if people that watch ISIS beheading videos are also the same kind of people that buy Coca-Cola, you're going to show them our ads. And it's, well, do you want to make money or not? I don't know. But I think they should have said, no, the ads are site-wide. It doesn't matter which video you watch.
Yeah.
It matters which user's watching them. And they just doubled down with that. And they said, look, the video content doesn't reflect the company at all.
Yeah.
And maybe they couldn't pull it off convincingly, or maybe nobody believed them. But I really think forcing people to... And then the other thing they've done, the YouTube Kids, is just them trying to avoid the law. That's full-blown them lying and deceiving and trying to... Because the YouTube's kid thing does not work. They target for kids, they optimize for kids, and they don't even direct them to YouTube Kids, and they instead punish people not on YouTube Kids for not being kid-friendly.
Yeah, and the other thing YouTube Kids does that really annoys me is you look up a clip of a cartoon...
Yeah.
And you want to see what people have to say about it because it's fun to read the comments. But, you can't because it's on YouTube Kids because it's a cartoon.
So it's blocked, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they, I hate that. You know what I love? I love reading comments. I really do. And I want to see, I'll see a cool scene when I'm watching, like, a Justice League movie, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is such a cool Batman scene. I'm going to find it on YouTube and just see what all the comments say. It's like, nobody has comments because it's blocked. I want to see what the people say. Like, I don't ask much. I just want to see someone say, "Oh, Batman's so cool," with like 10,000 upvotes, and I can upvote him too. I don't know why, but
comments are so important to me that on the phone, you know the little news feed on Google.
No.
Okay, so when you open up Google, there's this little news feed, and it's like the Google News, and it's just like a bunch of different online website posts, and it's Google's amazing at optimizing, so it's supposed to show you websites or things you'd be interested in.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of our parents' conversations partly come from. Yeah. So whenever I click on a post on any website...
That's where all the boomers get their news.
Any website, like any news website I click on, even if I'm looking things up and I find a website, I will scroll down and look for comments if it has the ability to write comments on the site page. If it doesn't, I immediately leave the site. If it is recommended to me, I say never recommend this site again. And I wish there was a button on Google which basically, if it's like a website sort of thing, you could basically press it and say, if I search something, don't have this website as one of the results of my search.
Can't you?
No.
Or is that,
That might be an add-on.
Yeah, maybe. Brave has this thing called Goggles, which you can tweak for a few things like that, I think.
Yeah.
They're not very easy to use, and it's not front and center on Brave, but...
Yeah, it's like, if there are no comments on your site and you're a news site, you are worthless to me.
Yeah. I think,
Like, even if there's no comments, I still want to see the comment section available.
It would be really neat if there was like a sort of meta Reddit, right? Where you could...
Dissenter failed.
It didn't fail. Everyone loved it. Dissenter did amazing. Everyone thought it was amazing.
But did it go public or something?
No. It got banned by Google.
Oh.
And so they made their own browser so that they could still keep it going.
Ah.
And then that browser was super popular. And then Google removed it from the Google Play Store.
Ah.
Because they didn't want to let people comment on websites where they could. And then Gab was the owner, which was a huge downfall as well, because I think the guy in charge of Gab is insane. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if you've ever... Did you ever have a Gab account?
No.
They spam you, like, I don't know, like 3 emails a day. And it's like, yeah, it's a mess of a website. And I think they kind of just died slowly. I don't know if they're still around. But Dissenter was great, and it got killed by other people. It wasn't the company itself. Everyone loved it. And people, like, nonpartisan, like, people would go to places and just say, oh, this is so cool that I can talk about this. And There is now something called what's it called?
It'd be great to be able to go to a Wikipedia page and just have comments on it.
Yeah, it's called like Scholar Inc. or something. Wikipedia has a discussion section.
Yeah, that's not controlled by Wikipedia.
Yeah, right. Well, that's the nice thing about Dissenter as well. The site didn't have control over it.
Yeah.
So that you could actually talk freely. But so what was I just talking about?
YouTube.
No, it was just
Dissenter.
Yeah, but
Meta comments.
Oh yeah, so there's it's called like Science Journal or Journal Inc. or something like that. So there is a thing very similar to Dissenter for academics now, which like works on papers and stuff that are online.
Yeah.
But it's not as robust, and nobody uses it except like stuffy old farts, and only in a couple of fields. So it's not the same.
So YouTube ads on the creator side.
Yeah.
Placing ads, they changed it. So you used to be able to say, I want more, less, or medium amount of ads.
Yeah.
You could also say, I want them at the beginning of the video, I want them throughout, I want them at the end, I want them beginning, ad, and mid-rolls. Now it's just, you get what YouTube gives you, or you manually place them.
Yeah. And you have to like manually delete them or something if they put a bunch in there on there. Because I think Sitch and Adam have talked about that, where Adam spends like a good like half hour on every live stream after it's over just deleting the ads from it so that it doesn't have
that's
an
the thing.
insane
Like,
amount.
if you try to watch the Archcast after it's gone live, you get an ad every 5 minutes, and the Archcast is usually 4 hours long.
Yeah, well, Sitch and Adam go for 8 hours, right?
Yeah.
So same, and then their ads are crazy as well. So he's just deleting.
Yeah. Well, I'm even worried about that because I released a video that's 2 hours, over 2 hours long, and it's a tutorial. How many play ads are going to be sitting in there?
Well, I think live streams do it worse for some reason.
They do, especially the VOD afterwards.
Yeah, but the I think Adam has even said like, look, just give us like $1 and use an ad blocker because it's too much work for me to delete it.
Yeah,
but I think I don't know if as a YouTube creator you should tell people to use ad blockers because I think Google might take offense to that at some point.
Yeah, no, I think YouTube Premium might be one of the better options.
No, premium's like it's not bad. It's well, I mean it's not cheap, but it's like $12 a month or something.
Yeah.
Which I mean for depending on how much you use YouTube can be a great deal.
Yeah, but I mean for us Canadians who are a poor country, it's going to get pricey.
But I think it's Netflix that's been experimenting with like a light mode where you still get ads, but you also pay for subscription.
It's better than what Amazon Prime did.
What's that?
You have your Amazon Prime subscription.
Yeah.
It lets you see Amazon Prime shows. Unless you have... But you can't see the ones that require extra services, so they have like a bunch of licenses you have to pay for extra. But then they decided they weren't making enough money on Amazon Prime. So they add in advertisement onto all their shows, and you can pay an extra premium price to get rid of the ads, even though you're already paying for Amazon Prime to watch the videos.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of what they do with Netflix, just in reverse, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. But I think that, like, there's no point in using the service if it has ads. Because the ads, once you get rid of most ads from your life, you realize how horrible they are.
Yeah. Well, ads are... I wonder if under the influence that show, which is all about advertising, has ever talked about the psychological warfare, arms race that ads have done.
But the funny thing is, right? Everyone, or most everyone, hates ads. They're horrible. I think they're bad for people. I think they make life worse.
Yeah.
However, Royal Road, which I was just talking about, their ads are all in-site ads. So what happens is that people will pay authors will pay Royal Road to advertise their books. So that's another discoverability, I guess. Yeah. And then people will click on the ads. And the ads are interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's made by the creators, so they just do like a fun little doodle or something. They make an ad. And they are relevant because you're like, I'm here to read something. What's there to read? Oh, this looks interesting. I'll click on that. And Steam, if you think about it, is actually a catalog.
Yeah.
And a catalog is just a collection of ads, right?
Yeah.
But people will go out of their way to open up Steam, look through their queue, look through the deals, people love the ads on Steam.
Yeah.
They don't even think of them as ads. They're just like, I want to see this. This is amazing. And I don't know if people pay for this or if Steam just reads the room, but you know when like there's a release like the Oblivion remake or something, and their entire background changes to get Oblivion now, right?
Yeah.
Like they make it their banners basically. And I don't know if like Bethesda's paying for that or if that's just they're like, hey, everyone's getting this thing, so you should get on it too.